Today on the audio hotline, I'm going to be reviewing this little number. This microphone is the Deity SPEC 2S. If you know Deity microphones, you may know that there is an SPEC 2. And this microphone is essentially its little brother. The S on the end of this microphone stands for short. And it's a little guy. It's cute, honestly. But before we get to some of the basics and specs and test this microphone out, there's one thing we got to do first. Let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio nerds to the audio hotline, and we actually might have a few video nerds with us today as well. As I said before, this is the Deity SPEC 2S, and currently it's about a foot away from me, even though the lens compression probably makes it look weird. Right now I am recording it into my Zoom H6 with the gain set at about 42%. As this microphone gets closer to me and further away, if I adjust the gain, I'll let you know what it is. But not only are we going to be recording on the Zoom H6 today, I also am going to try out the Deity HD TX. This is an awesome little recorder that you just plug right into your microphone, makes it super portable. You just put a micro SD card in there and, start recording. I'm not going to do a full review in this video. This is for the Deity SPEC 2S, but there will be a review coming for this. You can find the Deity SPEC 2S at a majority of places for about $320. But one disclaimer I do want to make real quick is that the kind people over at Deity did send me this microphone. They weren't like, hey, can you review our microphone and we'll pay you? And also, can you say really great things about it? None of that happened at all, even though I would have done that. Absolutely. I'm just joking. I don't do that here. Everything I say in this review is in fact my own opinion. And one more quick thing. If you are a filmmaker, you may know a shotgun microphone to only be for video. But believe it or not, there are actually a lot of voiceover people that love it. And there are people that use shotgun microphones for podcasts, recording acoustic guitars, recording guitar cabinet, like a ton of different things. A great microphone can be extremely versatile. With that being said, I just want to let you know that there are timestamps down below so you can check out the tests that apply to you and how you want to use this microphone. But now let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about what comes with this microphone. When you purchase the Deity SPEC 2S, it will come with a hard storage and carrying case. When you open up this hard case, you will find molded foam that fits all of the accessories perfectly. The other accessories include a Deity windscreen, a microphone clamp with a microphone stand adapter in it, and last but of course not least, it comes with the microphone itself, the Deity SPEC 2S. Everything that comes with this microphone is really nice. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm absolutely crazy about hard carrying and storage cases. These things are the best. The foam windscreen that comes with it is relatively thick, which is nice. You can tell it changes the sound a little bit when it's on the microphone, but that's to be expected. When I was using this microphone in a previous video, you could tell a big difference when it came to plosives and air when this windscreen was on the microphone. So it definitely works well. Also, a big plus for me is that it seems a little bit more resistant to holding cat hair on it. Definitely matters to me. Now, when it comes to the build of the microphone itself, it's great. When you're spending $320 on a shotgun microphone that's like pretty small and compact, I'm assuming it's going to be built pretty well, and that's the case here. The one item I'm not crazy about the build quality is actually the microphone clip. It just feels kind of cheap and plasticky. I mean, yeah, it holds the microphone in place well, so that's what matters, but I'm being nitpicky. But when it comes to build quality and accessories included, I think that everything is definitely on par with its price tag. At this point in the video, I would usually go through features on the microphone itself, but with this microphone, it's very cut and dry, which isn't a bad thing, but there is no on and off switch, no pad, no bass roll off, nothing like that. But now that we've talked about some of the basics of this microphone and what comes with it, now let's go ahead and nerd out and talk about some specs. The Deity SPEC 2S is an XLR supercardioid condenser microphone. This has a frequency response of 50 Hz to 20 kHz. It has a max SPL of 130 decibels, a nominal impedance of 75 ohms, a sensitivity of -32 decibels, a signal-to-noise ratio of 79 dBA, and a power requirement of either 24 or 48 volts of phantom power. Now, when it comes to the frequency response graph of this microphone, there is actually a slight boost in the low end, as well as a couple boosts and dips in the mid-range, but it is actually pretty leveled out in the high end. Now when it comes to specs, each person wants different things, but the only thing I do really want to mention real quick is the frequency response graph. It's very rare that I ever see a microphone that actually has a boost in the low end that's under 100 Hertz. But each microphone with its build, its capsule, literally everything about it plays into the sound. So if they feel like they needed to boost the mids or the low end or whatever, they had a reason for it. And all it really comes down to though is whether you like the sound or not. But now that we've gone through the basics, we talked about the specs, now let's go ahead and start testing this microphone out. This first section, I'll do my usual tests, and those will kind of be more for voiceover people, podcasters. I'll test it out on an acoustic guitar, but then after that, I'll do some tests for like filmmakers. I'll do some vlog tests even. Why not? Since we got this thing and it supplies 48 volts of phantom power, let's try vlogging with this. Since I am going to be closer to this microphone, I turned the gain down to about 35%. And I will, of course, be doing some tests with the windscreen and without the windscreen so you can hear how that sounds. Now let's go ahead and get close to this mic. Now, if you want to get really close to this cute little tiny shotgun microphone, here's how it's going to sound. Now, if you want to get really close to this windscreen, give it a little sniffy sniff. It smells like foam. It smells like a windscreen should. It checks out. Now, this next part could be loud. It could suck a little bit. Let's do some plosives. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peanuts. 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 Now, if you want to get this microphone for your YouTube gaming channel, and you're going to be click-clacking on a keyboard with some Cherry MX Blues like this, here's how it could sound. And may I note, I'm actually doing this keyboard test at an angle since this is a supercardioid microphone. And that's where it rejects sound the best. Now let's go ahead and take this a little bit further with a polar pattern test with some white noise. Now let's do a couple distance tests. Here's how the microphone sounds about 6 inches away from my mouth. Now here's how the microphone sounds about 1 foot away from my mouth. Now here's how the microphone sounds about 2 feet away from my mouth at about 45% gain. Here's how the microphone sounds about 3 feet away, maybe a little bit further, at about 48% gain. Now here is a quick indoor FILMAKER test. The microphone's right here, just out of the camera shot. This is about a 50mm lens. And here's how it sounds at about 40% gain, and I'd say it's about a foot away from my mouth. Right here. It's coming down. There we go. There we go. Yep, there it is. There it is. Can't find the damn windscreen. Where did it go? This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I just stepped in bullshit. Ooh. Found it. Now, if you want to use this microphone for voiceover or a podcast, here is the microphone about 3 to 4 inches away from my mouth, slightly angled so it's not getting plosives into it because I'm not currently using the windscreen. But here's how it sounds with the only EQ being just a bass roll off. I'll put it up on the screen. I realized the other day it doesn't really make sense for me to EQ a microphone to my voice and then have people potentially follow that EQ curve. It just doesn't make sense. So all I'm going to do is just put a bass roll off on it, some compression, maybe a de-esser if it needs it, and that should be about it. And now here is the microphone in the same position but with the windscreen on, and here is how the windscreen affects the sound of the microphone. One more test I want to do is just be about 6 inches away from this microphone, use the windscreen, talking directly into it, take the windscreen off, talk directly into it, and just see how it affects the EQ curve of this microphone. Here is this microphone without the windscreen on, and here is the microphone with the windscreen on. Once again, here is no windscreen on the SPEC 2S, and here is the provided windscreen on the SPEC 2S. So now we're just doing a real quick vlogging test with the Deity SPEC 2S and the Deity HDTX. So the HDTX is supplying the 48 volts of phantom power. That's how I'm able to do this whole thing right now. Currently it's just on top of my Canon EOS R. Quite honestly, this isn't really a super ideal setup for vlogging at all because it kind of makes the whole camera setup a little heavy. The HDTX might be small, but it actually has a little bit of weight to it. But I just figured I should do this test because if I don't, some vlogger is going to complain. straight up. So here I am, doing the test. But right now I do have the windscreen on. There's a slight breeze, nothing too serious. There are some cars going by and everything, so there's probably some noise happening for sure. I will say I did have to do this test once previously, and the wind was substantially worse at that point, and it was honestly pretty bad, even with the windscreen on. So I will say, if you are gonna get this microphone and you plan on being outside, you should probably get a fluffy kitten windscreen. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say the other thing. I'm not gonna freaking say the dead. I'm not gonna do it. But anyway, here's how this sounds outside. If you were to use the Deity S-Mic 2S in a very reverberant room, not super ideal, but here's how it would sound. Well, now that we've gone through the basics, we went through the specs, and we tested this thing out quite thoroughly. Now I'm going to go ahead and get to my review, my opinion of the Deity S-Mic 2S. With any mic, there are pros and there are cons. But before we go into those, let me just mention a couple things about this little setup. Quite frankly, the Deity HD-TX recorder has a lot more features than I expected. So needless to say, I realized just how much it definitely needs its own thorough review and demonstration. So if you're interested in this recorder, definitely keep your eye out for that. Now, when it comes to these two as like a setup, as like a pair, I really like it. And quite frankly, this is such an awesome, like small setup, and it's all you need. Not for everything and everyone, but for a lot of people, they could get by with this setup, which is such a cool concept because you could take this with you anywhere. But when it comes to the S-Mic 2S itself, let's go ahead and start with a couple positive things. Personally, I like the size and that it's super compact. I think that's awesome. The build of this microphone is awesome. The build of most of the accessories are really good. The mic clip's kind of whatever. And as you can see right here, I am using a little shock mount that works pretty well with it. As per usual, I'm obsessed with the hard storage carrying case, whatever you want to call that. But quite honestly, I don't dislike many things about this microphone. I will say for the price tag, I do think it would have been nice if it had a couple switches on it. Like a 10 or 20 decibel pad would have been really nice, a bass roll-off. Maybe even like a little treble boost switch would have been really cool for when you're using a windscreen or like a blimp. Or a fluffy kitty. And quite honestly, they fit a very nice, full-sounding shotgun microphone into a tiny little body. Now for some cons, I did mention the switches a little bit earlier, the bass roll-off, pad, you know, those would have been nice, but it's not too big of a deal. And that's one thing that is really cool about this recorder is that it actually has all of those features in there. But I do think this microphone is better indoors. I think it's like a really great YouTube studio microphone. I didn't love it when we were outdoors. I just don't think the rejection was as great as some shotgun microphones. Now, if you're a filmmaker or you shoot like interviews or anything like that, I think this would be a really great microphone to have. And honestly, I can't think of a reason why someone shouldn't make a podcast with this. I think it'd be a completely acceptable microphone to use. And voiceover. I do think that this has a great tone overall. A lot of people in that situation want to get really close to it, and with a shotgun microphone like this, it can tend to get a little bit muddy. I don't think this one's as bad as some others, but I do think a lot of people could be extremely happy with this microphone. So the grade that I give the Deity S-Mic 2S is an... Thank you all for watching this review of the Deity S-Mic 2S. I hope it helped you out, helped you decide whether you want to get one of these or not, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more reviews, comparisons, audio-related videos, content creation-related videos, you know, just... I don't know what happened. Just stay tuned, man. A big thank you to Deity for sending me this microphone and supporting the audio hotline. I really do appreciate it when companies are willing to do that. It means a lot. And the biggest thank you to you guys, the subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you guys. You're the best. You're the best. And once again, thank you all for watching the audio hotline. Why am I singing so much? Anyway, I'll see you audio and video nerds next time.